Hello everyone, welcome back to Ansarkari. In today's video, we will be continuing with the important newspaper articles from 30 August 2024. So first article says compliance should be like breathing goods. So here again, this is regarding the corporate governance, yeah, even the regulation of the exchanges trust and what are the values that are posed by the owners, etc. Just say abhi this was the Hindenburg case. Hindenburg report, it showed that Adani posed the value of their stocks higher than it actually was, which led to the overall loss. So here again, even she had Madhabi Puri Bush, even she had um, taken part in the stocks and faced losses. So this is more about transparency and accountability. So firms in real estate under the regulatory ambit through small and medium real estate investment trusts, SM REITs. The Bush said that the industry response towards regulation was overwhelmingly positive. So again, better regulations and role of SEBI, Securities and Exchange Board of India. This becomes important. And global fintech, any Financial Technology Fest 2024. Next, Gift City Public Float Norm East. So the center has reduced the mandatory public float threshold from 25% to 10% for the companies to be listed in the International Financial Services Center, IFSC, in order to facilitate easier access to global capital for the Indian startup. So again, facilitating the setting up of industrial cities. Specifically, just like employment, where there will be a boost for the infrastructure development that will take place, and the overall GDP that will be increases. So economic growth that will take place. Further services की जो efficiency है, that will increase, FDI will increase. So these are all the positive and major benefits of this. Plus, even the tier 2 and tier 3 cities, even from there will be a lot of labor absorption that will take place, and udhar be better connectivity that will form. So there have been a change in the criteria for the listing in the International Financial Service Centers. So again, as a title hai, so it will give a particular identity to the cities. Next, India got a new billionaire every 5 days last year. So this is regarding the major names, and we can get to know this. So first is Gautam Adani and family. Second is Mukesh. So these are new billionaire every 5 days last year. So Mukesh Ambani and family. Then this is net worth that is mentioned here. Fish Shiv Nadar and family. And then is Cyrus Poonawalla and family. So Dilip Sanghvi, Birlas, Gopi Chand, Bajaj, Azim Premji and family. Gautam Adani replaced Mukesh Ambani at the top. So India was home to the third largest pack of billionaires in the world behind China, US. So यहाँ पे it is a very positive thing. We can have that outlook here. But again, along the same lines, it is also important to focus on the wealth and income inequality that is present. जैसे कि top 1%, they own nearly 40% of the wealth. तो इसमें income inequality and wealth inequality की बात आ जाती है when we talk about social justice and redistribution of wealth. So these portions they become important here. कि क्या actually जो ये capitalist model है, is it beneficial in the long term? Does it actually cater to the better society? या फिर we need to follow the socialist path as well. मेजर इकोनॉमिक रिफॉर्म्स 1991 के बाद हम बात करते हैं. MRTP एक्ट हो गया, मिनिमम रिस्ट्रिक्टिव ट्रेड पॉलिसीज एक्ट, फिर कंपनीज एक्ट की हम बात करते हैं. तो दे इंट्रोड्यूस सम मेजर चेंजेस. Next, Adani Group invests rupees 2000 crore in Dharavi redevelopment. So again, this is regarding the investment that is being done here. So Dharavi redevelopment project. So Dharavi, uh, the largest slum redevelopment initiative in Asia, which covers 640 acres in Mumbai. तो कैसे इसका जो redevelopment है, that will have better implications for the population that is living there. जैसे कि अगर हम बात करते हैं their well-being की, disease etc की regarding, कि how the facilities they will enhance here, the lifestyle, the structure that they are living in. These are all the major points that we can focus upon. Next, temperature, not rains, now key determinant of food inflation. So now it is regarding temperature, कि कैसे how temperature also is a major factor that impacts the food production etc. And not rains. जैसे कि हम देख रहे हैं कि now the monsoon, it is taking turns, and the situation is much better now. जो rainfall deficit है that we are not able to see currently. The correlation between average temperatures and India's food inflation has risen sharply over the past decade. कि कैसे जो टेम्परेचर है वो फूड इन्फ्लेशन के साथ कैसे चेंज करते हैं. With the connect being true across individual food groups, जैसे कि perishable crops, durable crops,
यहाँ
and
पे अगर आप डायरेक्टली ग्राफ की बात करोगे फिर ना, जैसे लिखा हुआ है कि इन केस ऑफ पेरिशेबल क्रॉप्स द प्राइसेस इट इज इंक्रीज्ड 3 times, जब हम कोरिलेशन ऑफ फूड प्राइसेस विद टेम्परेचर की बात कर रहे हैं. एंड फॉर द नॉन पेरिशेबल क्रॉप्स इट इज इंक्रीज बाय 5 times. सो इस तरीके के ग्राफ्स हम इवन आंसर्स में भी ड्रॉ कर सकते हैं. एंड नीचे जो डेटा है that is stating कि for example headline inflation it is averaged about 5% अगर हम 2024 की बात कर रहे हैं. By 2024 and headline core food inflation all they are likely to converge towards 4% target. तो ये important indicators है जो हम monitor करते हैं particularly inflation के केस में, और यहाँ पे तीनों को ग्राफ में भी डिपिक्ट किया हुआ है. तो फोरकास्ट है और अभी करंट फिगर्स है हमारे. तो यू कैन सी कि हेडलाइन इन्फ्लेशन सबसे ज्यादा है, उसके बाद आई थिंक ये होना चाहिए ट्रेंड्स. तो यहाँ पे डिपिक्ट नहीं किया हुआ कौन सा कलर का ग्राफ, रेड वाला इट शुड बी कोर इन्फ्लेशन. सो सबसे टॉप वाला जो ग्रेड डैश लाइन है ये होना चाहिए हेडलाइन इन्फ्लेशन. अच्छा ये फूड इन्फ्लेशन है.
एंड when we talk about temperature और food inflation correlation, तो कैसे ज्यादा अगर perishable crops होंगे, durable crops होंगे, especially like fruits and even other items, जैसे कि जब हम टॉप की बात करते हैं तो टोमेटो, अनियन एंड पोटैटो ये सबसे ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट और एसेंशियल गुड्स होते हैं एंड इवन वेरी पेरिशेबल. तो इसलिए टेम्परेचर हाई होएगा तो ज्यादा इनको सेव करके रखना इट बिकम्स वेरी मच मोर इम्पोर्टेंट. तो इसके लिए कोल्ड स्टोरेज फैसिलिटीज उनको सेटअप करना इट बिकम्स इम्पोर्टेंट एंड क्विकर
और
ट्रांसपोर्ट, मोर
इसे
एफिशिएंट
लिखिए
ट्रांसपोर्ट, जिसके लिए हम
हाँ,
उड़ान स्कीम का भी यूज कर सकते हैं.
उड़ान स्कीम इज फॉर द पैसेंजर्स, वो फार्म के लिए नहीं है. यहाँ पे जैसे लिखा है टेम्परेचर एंड फूड इन्फ्लेशन कोरिलेशन टाइम पीरियड के अकॉर्डिंग भी है. तो ये कोफिशिएंट जो दिखा रहा है ये दिखा रहा है 1 year में अगर हम देखते हैं कोरिलेशन तो सबसे ज्यादा है. अगर हम 10 years के टाइम पीरियड पे कंपेयर करते हैं तो टेम्परेचर का इम्पैक्ट फूड इन्फ्लेशन पे बहुत कम है. तो अगेन शॉर्टर टाइम पीरियड पे जो फैक्टर्स ज्यादा इम्पैक्ट करेंगे उसमें से टेम्परेचर सबसे ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट बन चुका है आज के टाइम में. तो टेम्परेचर चेंजेस में हम और भी बात कर सकते हैं, जैसे ड्रॉट लाइक कंडीशंस दैट इज आल्सो बिकॉज ऑफ टेम्परेचर. एक्सेसिव वी कैन से ह्यूमिडिटी व्हिच अगेन इट impacts the productivity of certain crops. So in these manner we are seeing कि temperature variations are impacting the productivity.
And when we talk about the Udan scheme, तो मानसी जी इसमें the food can be transported. जो कृषि उड़ान स्कीम है specifically उसके अंदर
कृषि डांस में
perishable goods.
हम्म और similarly we have Kisan Rail also.
For quicker transport, time bound transport. Next chip push, center ready with $15 billion blueprint. So again, regarding chips, important scheme can be specs, which is the production of semiconductors related items, electronic related items, and fabrication units maybe. Joint ventures हम देख सकते हैं जैसे कि Taiwan and Vedanta. The second phase, chip push, the new 2.0 semiconductor scheme to have a higher outlay so that India can remain competitive. So we can see कि ये बहुत ज़्यादा important है chips for all the electrical devices that are being operated. तो इनका manufacture that becomes crucial for India. जो indigenous development है इसका self reliance की जो हम बात करते हैं, which is why it becomes essential. Further steps क्या है? Offer capital support for raw materials and gases that are used in chip manufacturing. Reduce the subsidies for assembly and testing plants.
तो इसमें जैसे हम इंटरनेशनल कंपैरिजन की बात करते हैं, पर्टिकुलरली ये जैसे बजट एलोकेशन की बात कर रहे हैं, तो यूएसए में वी सी की $39 बिलियन जो है वो ओनली फॉर द मैन्युफैक्चरिंग इंसेंटिव्स के लिए प्रोवाइड किए जाएंगे. सेपरेटली फॉर रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट एंड वर्कफोर्स डेवलपमेंट फॉर द सेमीकंडक्टर इंडस्ट्री $13 बिलियन has been allocated. And they're also having a particular law which is the Chips and Science Act in USA. So it provides $52 billion for the semiconductor manufacturing, R&D and workforce. So again, India is, again, we are trying to increase our investment, but challenge for us is again the budget. हम इतना बड़ा बजट या लार्ज स्केल पे कैसे we can be again the leader in semiconductor manufacturing and be a critical part of the global value chain.
Fueling India's growth, role of banking and financial markets. So it is a synergy between the banking and finance sectors which propels India's economic growth, setting the stage for a more resilient and inclusive future. तो अगेन बैंकिंग और जो फाइनेंस सेक्टर है उनका कोलैबोरेशन दैट बिकम्स इम्पोर्टेंट. जैसे वी वर आल्सो रीडिंग अबाउट द पीयर टू पीयर मॉडल कि कैसे थ्रू एनबीएफसी इट कैन बी फैसिलिटेटेड, क्या क्या चैलेंजेस थे उसमें. ऑन द सिमिलर लाइंस बेटर इंटीग्रेशन इज नीडेड है. तो ये बैकबोन है ऑफ द इकोनॉमिक स्टेबिलिटी. Now, financial market, they also act as the catalyst for growth. जैसे they complement करते हैं बैंकिंग सेक्टर को. कैसे? They provide investment platforms and capital acquisition. जैसे कि जो स्टॉक एक्सचेंजेस होते हैं, even they like BSE and NSE, National Stock Exchange and Bombay Stock Exchange, they help companies raise funds for growth. तो mainly financing के लिए shares, bonds, mutual funds, etc. इन सब के लिए they become the financial markets, they become important. Now this synergy, इससे क्या क्या benefits होते हैं? Business expansion होता है, sustained growth होती है. Now regulatory frameworks are required here. जैसे एक तो हम SROs की बात करते हैं, self regulatory organizations, plus हम बात करते हैं regulatory sandboxes की in the institutions, especially in the fintech sector जिसमें वो बहुत ज़्यादा emerge हो चुका है. तो मार्केट स्टेबिलिटी होएगी एंड ऑल्सो इन्वेस्टर्स का जो इंटरेस्ट है वो इंक्रीज होएगा, thereby promoting trust and transparency alongside. Next, a legacy of growth and innovation. So here again, this is regarding the various schemes that are mentioned here. जैसे नवरत्न माला स्कीम, फिर मुथुकुवियल स्कीम, मलिगाई स्कीम and मुल्लाई स्कीम. So these are related to tax, etc. जैसे higher rate of interest on your savings, availability to various diaspora, जैसे non NRIs जो होते हैं उनके लिए भी it is available. Further, a money transfer penny to a financial powerhouse. Which is just regarding company. Next, foreigners in IFSC can invest in sovereign green bonds. So IFSC, International Financial Services Center. So they can invest. So now the Reserve Bank on Thursday they introduced a scheme. जिससे कि जो foreign investors हैं, they can invest in the International Financial Services Center to invest in sovereign green bond, जिससे कि facilitation होएगा of the wider non-resident participation in such instruments. तो मानसी दी ये FDI वगैरह से different कैसे है? FII और FDI की जो हम बात करते हैं.
FDIs वी आर सीइंग कि हम ज्यादा प्रमोट करते हैं ग्रीन फील्ड इन्वेस्टमेंट्स में, जो प्रोजेक्ट्स स्टार्टिंग से फ्रॉम स्क्रैच हम बनाना चाहते हैं, तो FDI हमें इन्वेस्ट कर बेनिफिट करते हैं इन टर्म्स ऑफ इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर क्रिएशन. सिमिलरली हम पर्टिकुलरली अवेलेबिलिटी ऑफ फाइनेंस की बात कर रहे हैं, तो इन्वेस्टमेंट इन दीज green bonds will ensure the timely availability of the finances, particularly which will be needed for again the construction or the meeting up the financial needs of the renewable energy projects, क्योंकि green bonds हैं. So this will be again driving more of sustainable growth in India. And so यहाँ पे apart from this, FPIs registered with SEBI, they are also permitted to invest in these. So FPI route के through we'll be seeing more investment in these green bonds. So foreigners can also invest. Similarly, they can also invest in government securities also, जो इस साल question में पूछा गया था. और ऊपर जो हम बात कर रहे थे synergy between banking and fintech industry, तो how can it actually help India's growth? या हम फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन की बात करते हैं, स्टेबिलिटी ऑफ ग्रोथ कैसे प्रमोट की जा सकती है. सो फर्स्टली इनहांस्ड फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन होगा. हेयर वी आर सीइंग कि द पार्टनरशिप्स बिटवीन द फिनटेक इंडस्ट्री और द फिनटेक फर्म्स इन द बैंकिंग sector, it will be helping in providing more digital payments, micro loans availability. तो यहाँ पे एक एग्जांपल है ICICI बैंक और Paytm. They are in again a partnership and they are promoting more of digital credit and debit cards to the Paytm users. तो ICICI बैंक का यहाँ रोल आ जाता है. So more individuals will come under the financial fold. Secondly, it will help in digital transformation of the banking services. तो यहाँ पे जो फिनटेक इंडस्ट्रीज के पास जो एक बोल सकते हैं यूनिक एडवांटेज, एक यूनिक पोजीशन है, पर्टिकुलरली इन डिजिटल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन, यार दे आर मोर डिजिटाइज कंपेयर टू द बैंक्स. सो यहाँ पे थ्रू द पार्टनरशिप बैंक्स आर गेटिंग बेनिफिटेड एंड they will also be able to reduce their cost and faster services availability would be there and improved customer experience. So here we are seeing HDFC Bank or Axis Bank, they have integrated like digital lending platforms and they're also better able to assess the credit worthiness also of the borrowers. So instant loans of banks भी offer करने लग गए हैं with minimal documentation that is required. Then we are seeing कि improved risk management भी हो सकता है, fraud detection भी हो सकता है. कल ही हमने देखा था कि RBI governor he was stating कि how artificial intelligence can revolutionize the banking sector. So fintech firms, they are using the artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data analytics to provide real-time risk assessment. So similarly, this would be applicable in case of banking also. For example, Yes Bank, it is again implementing and it is collaborating with the fintechs to implement their AI-based models for fraud detection and credit scoring. And accelerated credit access would be there, digital lending would be promoted. So here we'll be seeing that fintech companies, they are streamlining their loan applications approval process. They're reducing the turnaround times for the days in 2 minutes. So they're leveraging the data from multiple sources. So as we say, data is the new oil. So here, for example, we have the lending cart and Bajaj FinServ. So they collaborating with the banks to offer quick and unsecured loans to MSMEs. And then we have expanding the payment ecosystem. Overall, the synergy would be furthering this. For example, we have UPI and digital wallets. So phone pay, Google Pay, Paytm, and then banking services जो है NIFT और RTGS, IMPS ये promote होंगी. So in case of UPI, like we have crossed 10 billion transactions in a single month as of August 2023. So latest data again और भी ज़्यादा होगा ये.
Next, why do we need a new income tax act? So the government has constituted a committee specifically to review the Income Tax Act, with the exercise expected to be completed before the next budget. So कैसे जो overhauling है of the existing law can help reduce compliance burdens and improve clarity for taxpayers. So reducing complexities under the current law. So when we talk about the Income Tax Act, तो 1961 और की फीचर्स क्या क्या है? Scope again, जो status of individual and entities, उसके according this act determines the tax liability, जो कि based on the individual. और जो global income है, उसके basis पर the residents are taxed. Further, income source majorly salary, income from house property, profits and gains of business, capital gains, all these areas they are used here. और specific tax rates और slabs होते हैं कि जिसके अकॉर्डिंग डिफरेंट कैटेगरीज होती हैं टैक्स पेयर्स की, जैसे कितने अमाउंट तक व्हाट परसेंटेज और व्हाट रेट ऑफ टैक्स नीड टू बी पेड. दीज आर कॉल्ड द टैक्स स्लैब्स. तो टैक्स एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन और कंप्लायंस की बात करते हैं तो टैक्स डिडक्शन एट सोर्स, TDS जिसको हम बोलते हैं कि the certain payments they require the payer to deduct tax at source itself before making the payment. फिर एडवांस टैक्स होता है इंस्टॉलमेंट से पहले. दीज आर द टॉप एग्जांपल्स एंड वेज रिगार्डिंग टैक्स. अब अगर हम बात करते हैं कि क्या क्या कॉम्प्लेक्सिटीज है करंटली, तो इजी टू अंडरस्टैंड लैंग्वेज चाहिए विद द फॉलोइंग ऑब्जेक्टिव, जैसे कि जो टैक्सेस है वो सिंप्लीफाइड हो, improved taxpayer services और tax certainty और reducing litigation, जैसे कि जो पेपर वर्क है, रेड टेपिज्म है, all these areas they get covered और और ज्यादा efficiency increase हो. तो इसी के लिए comprehensive view that is required here. So again this is regarding the relevancy of the act कि कितने इसमें sections, कितने क्या required है. And
So यहाँ पे क्वेश्चन पूछ रहा है why we need a new income tax act. तो जैसे बोला है कि streamlining of taxation of savings important है in order to again channelize more savings towards investment. तो choice between exempt taxed and दो categories होती है exempt taxed. So these are not merely fiscal matters नहीं है, but again policy decisions are reflecting maturity of the economy. So all these things need to be in sync with the changing, again we can say the changing pattern of per capita income or changes in the real income, and again the different sectors through which people are making income now. So the things are changing, so again this act needs to be more in sync with that. So that is why we need a new income tax act. Then again we are comparing about the global tax avoidance rules. So in case of India, like we have already signed the double taxation avoidance treaties there. Then for this, again, OECD has also proposed that a minimum and uniform standard of corporate tax hona chahiye. That would be the same tax rate applicable in each and every country. And right now the proposed tax rate is 15%. Although is pe abhi we have not reached a global agreement. So global और बाकी जो हम बात करते हैं, तो there is base erosion profit shifting action plan के लिए there are again Pillar 1 and Pillar 2 respectively, they have been outlined as of now. So ये global tax avoidance rules की जो भी again they are in the formulation. And pending reforms in corporate tax, if we are talking particularly about India, so recently also in the 2024 union budget, we saw taxation has been reduced and there are certain changes which are done in the capital gains tax regime. So in case of like for the real estate sector, it has been reduced. there have been structural changes for particularly the capital gains tax in case of the 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 real estate sector, and even for the capital markets also it has been increased, short term and long term. So tax holidays की हम बात करते हैं, and then we also talk about more simplification of even the corporate tax rate. So corporate tax rate कम करने के पीछे the intention is that we want to promote more of manufacturing, more of industries, more the participation. तो एक तरीके से compliance burden भी ये reduce करेगा. So keeping it more relevant. So like 23 chapters हैं current act में, 298 sections are there, और उसके आगे भी 1000 सब sections हैं. So इसकी वजह से complexity and जो ambiguity है वो ज्यादा हो जाती है.
And Mansi,
And
as it is mentioned here regarding the fewer personal income tax slabs, तो इससे क्या benefit होएगा if we reduce the tax slabs?
सो टैक्स स्लैब्स अगर कम होंगे तो यहाँ पे हम बात कर सकते हैं, जैसे लैफर कर्व की हम बात करते हैं, तो जो लैफर कर्व है दो कौन से वेरिएबल्स के बीच में रिलेशनशिप डिपिक्ट करता है, टैक्स रेवेन्यू और टैक्स रेट. सो अगर हम बोलते हैं कि जो टैक्स स्लैब्स हैं उनको हम कम कर देंगे, नंबर ऑफ टैक्स स्लैब्स जो है, और टैक्स रेट भी इफ इट इज एप्रोप्रिएट इन केस ऑफ इंडिया, हमारी जो करंट जीडीपी ग्रोथ है, अगर लैफर कर्व के अकॉर्डिंग हम टैक्स रेट भी कम करते हैं एंड इट शो केसेस कि हमारा जो टैक्स रेवेन्यू है वो इंक्रीज होगा, तो एक वो पॉसिबल बेनिफिट हो सकता है बिकॉज ऑफ फ्यूअर पर्सनल इनकम टैक्स स्लैब्स. एंड द सेम थिंग इज अगेन वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट रिड्यूसिंग द जीएसटी टैक्स स्लैब्स ऑल्सो. सो दोनों चीज में दिस इज वन थिंग. एंड यहाँ पे एक बार नीचे स्क्रॉल करो तो यहाँ लिखा भी हुआ है कि इम्पैक्ट ऑफ डायरेक्ट टैक्स कोड 2009. सो ये भी, इसमें भी एम यही था कि हम पूरे जो एक्ट है, जो मेथड है, उसको और सिंप्लीफाई करें, स्ट्रीमलाइन करें. And in case of GST, we have seen the changes. We have seen the performance of GST when there were several taxes, they were clubbed into the GST. तो वो भी एक simplification process था. And even in case of like direct tax collections की अगर हम बात करें तो सबसे ज्यादा इंडिया में टैक्स रेवेन्यू जो है इनकम टैक्स से आता है. तो इसको हम और सिंप्लीफाई कर देंगे तो इट माइट बी पॉसिबल जो टैक्स अवॉइडेंस हो रहा है वो नहीं होगा या वो बहुत कम हो जाएगा. एंड देयर वुड बी मोर चांसेस ऑफ इंक्रीजिंग द tax to GDP ratio also in case of India. So POEM, Plan of Effective Management, General Anti-Avoidance Rules are proposed by DTC, and abhi still these are again in the reformatory stages.
Yes. Southampton University to set up campus in India, first under NEP. तो again new education policy के under, how are we setting up the foreign universities in India? तो उनके institution set up करना, campus set up करना. The UK's University of Southampton has become the first foreign university to set up its offshore campus in India under the new education policy. तो
इससे पहले
usually
ये भी देखा था, जैसे ये यूके की यूनिवर्सिटी है तो आई डोंट नो इसको हम फर्स्ट क्यों बोल रहे हैं. इससे पहले हम देख चुके हैं कि जो ऑस्ट्रेलिया की डीकन यूनिवर्सिटी है उन्होंने अपना कैंपस गुजरात में ऑलरेडी सेटअप कर लिया, यहाँ लिखा भी हुआ है ऑस्ट्रेलिया's डीकन यूनिवर्सिटी, यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ द
is under the
लॉन्ग
new NEP.
have already set up the campuses in GIFT City in Gujarat. तो अंडर नेपी है वो भी. ठीक है, बस हमें एग्जांपल्स पता होने चाहिए. वी शुड रिमेंबर द नेम्स ऑफ द यूनिवर्सिटीज.
Australia is taking university. And University of Wollongong, GIFT City in Gujarat.
So जो universities again they will be awarding the degrees, they will be considered as same as in the host university. And इसका बेनिफिट एक यही होगा कि क्वालिटी एजुकेशन, जो डेमोग्राफिक डिविडेंड की हम बात करते हैं उसमें हम क्वालिटी इंप्रूवमेंट्स देख सकते हैं. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दिस जो अगेन एक पूरा लाइक we are seeing कि there is more demand to study abroad, तो वो कम हो जाएगी. We'll able to retain the human resource talent in India only. And their compliance with Indian norms is important, and then promotion of again more vocational skills जो बाहर की countries में culture है, I think that would also become a critical component of India's education sector, but that needs to be in a reformed manner. It needs to be in synergy with the Indian demands, the Indian society. Plus there would be again more competition भी होगा because currently we are seeing again India University है अभी ये this change is happening for the first time, तो more competition would be leading to again more, we can say कि cost of education भी कम होनी चाहिए. Concern तो ये है कि बोल रहे कि cost of education increase होगी because they'll be charging high, but again that needs to be again on the lines of Indian laws, तो इतना ज्यादा वो high भी नहीं हो सकता. Internationalization at home.
Next, artificial rain, WFS among measures suggested for Delhi's winter action plan. So again, almost every winter we see a very harsh cases of air pollution. So we have already talked about the GRAP, FAME, CAFE scheme, BS norms. All these are important. But what apart from them can be done? सबसे पहले is regarding the artificial rain कि कैसे that can help in reducing the air pollution. And Manjari, correct me if I'm wrong, I guess silver iodide is used for artificial rain.
Right.
So this is regarding air quality index. कैसे इसको achieve करना, it becomes important to maintain it. Further, क्या क्या changes required हैं यहाँ पे they are mentioned very clearly. Behavioral changes की बात करते हैं तो strengthening awareness, voluntary vehicular restrictions, कि कैसे we are using public transport rather than using private transport, and also the disposing or scrapping of the vehicles that are already used for 15 years. तो उनका जो पोल्यूशन है, उनका जो क्वालिटी मैनेजमेंट है जो होता है, that also becomes important to regulate it. Artificial rainfall, we've already discussed about it. And CSR fund, जो corporate social responsibility की हम बात करते हैं, तो here also we need contribution. जैसे I guess around 2% of the profit is required to contribute, 2 or maybe 3%, जिसमें के
2% of the preceding 3 financial years needs
हाँ
to
of
be
the
in CSR, and CSR is mandatory in India, and India is the only country in the world where it is mandatory.
hmm,
So this is under the Companies Act of 2013.
further work from home option, electric vehicles को promote करना at hotspots, जैसे कि charging में भी we are promoting the infrastructure development in terms of charging of electric vehicles, so these become important. फिर 14 focus points, तो क्या क्या है? Dust pollution caused by vehicles, dust pollution, again construction, and long-term soil erosion जो होता है, stubble burning, that also becomes a major challenge. इसके solution में भी we had discussed long back regarding कि कैसे the companies they can buy the stubble for their own use, maybe at lower prices, so that उसको cut करना it becomes better. Further और ज़्यादा subsidies देना on their selling या फिर easier cheaper instruments provide करना in order to cut it, because that is the whole tiresome and money intensive task. So garbage burning in the open, this also becomes a challenge. फिर again waste segregation कैसे हम create कर सकते हैं on site plants को for the waste treatment. In engineered landfills की बात करते हैं. Further industrial pollution, again carbon absorption है chimney में ही, setting up such mechanisms that don't let the dust fly away. Green war room and green app, so these are the two new terms. फिर hotspots monitoring, real time source apportionment study, increasing green cover tree plantation, तो again ये afforestation में आ जाता है. Then e-waste eco parks, promotion of public participation, ban on firecrackers, and then integration and dialogue between the central government and the neighboring states. So all these are major steps that can be taken. So very comprehensively what these are mentioned there. Apart
And
from
यहाँ पे we see center. Okay, is anyone saying something?
no Mansi, you cannot.
Okay, so I was saying here the Center for Environmental Management of Degraded Ecosystems, they are saying that it is important to also monitor the number of clean days which will be recorded between October to December, and so that again we can better assess the patterns which are changing. And secondly, on the part of artificial rain, they are saying ki the clouds, they need moisture, and there is no assurance that it will rain after the seeding also. And one more concern is, as we saw in case of Dubai also, wahan pe bhi this method was adopted of artificial rain because of again heat waves. And there we saw that it turned out to be excessive amount of rainfall. So even that became a challenge because Dubai is known for its arid climate and deserts. So we were seeing flooding in Dubai. So these are two concerns. There is no assurance, and then there can be excessive rainfall. So there needs to be a proper study, proper planning before going ahead with this as a solution. And this is expensive also. So we need to study with whether what is going to be the success rate, particularly for Delhi, given the climate and the weather that is there. What is going to be the correct timing also?
I see. And also other steps that we discussed were regarding water guns, how we can use them to spray and then settle the dust particles. Plus also the use of the green cover on the construction sites. Important center की बात करते हैं तो Center for Environmental Management of Degraded Ecosystems, so CEMD. Plus mining etc. कैसे इन सब से भी there are challenges that are created, deforestation etc. like we read in case of Aravallis recently. Next, India gets second nuclear submarine with commissioning of INS Arighat. So Arighat is the second nuclear submarine in India, and it will significantly boost the country's deterrence capability. So class vessel in Visakhapatnam was attended by the Defense Minister Rajnath Singh. तो ये strategic balance create करेगा और peace in the region. Features की बात करते हैं तो 6,000 ton nuclear propelled submarine will be armed with indigenously made K-15 missiles, which have a range of over 700 kilometers.
And first nuclear powered submarines was INS Arihant. This is the second one. So isme again what better technologies are there that they can be, again they have the ability to fire nuclear missiles from, like as we say, nuclear triad, from they can fire the missiles from air, from land, and from sea. And also they can stay for much more longer time underwater also compared to the diesel electric submarines that we have. So that is the shift that we are focusing upon. And so we are also able to achieve more synergy between again the Indian Navy and DRDO here in this case. And
Industrial
especially
sector, MEC,
they
they have also
have received huge boost through this project. So indigenization पे भी हम focus कर रहे हैं along with this. And like
also, apart
like
from
INS
the said
Arihant, it is a powered 83 megawatt pressurized light water reactors, which will be allowing it to remain submerged for a longer time period. So we are using pressurized light water reactors to power them.
And apart from the nuclear submarine, we also talk about the various other ways, जैसे कि electric diesel, then hybrid जो हम create करता है. So these are different ways of energy sources कि कैसे these submarines they can be created.